Okay, now who I didn't even have my microphone on. Um, yeah, like now that I'm kind of in that YouTube space, man, I don't want to be spouting theories like, oh, YouTube's just trying to. But man, looking at, because I love analytics, I love stats, I can look at that stuff for days. But I'd be seeing some things like, wait, this it's kind of random, but what can I do until I build my own, I guess. So yeah. but but it's interesting because and I don't want to say some of it's luck, because I obviously have to put the time to create the videos and the content and everything. But like for the 6 months that I've only been on YouTube, like it's the channels actually has done quite well, and it almost feels like they don't want that. So I don't know. Once again, I could just be tripping. I could just be in my own feelings, but it almost feels like they purposely slowed it down. No, I thought I have. I thought, like, I don't really, censor kind of like how I feel about certain things, but I mean, after I had gotten banned for a week after, I guess, quote unquote cyberbullying somebody. I don't know when that happened, but I guess someone complained that I was cyberbullying. So, but I swear to you, right after that, my channel analytics, at least numbers wise, was just like tanking, and I couldn't do anything to stop it. So I don't know. It was just weird, but I guess that's just what I'm gonna have to deal with for a little bit. But yeah, they put a sucker move and snitched on me. Yeah, it's like, come on, man. Like I don't know if you guys ever noticed, but I invite everyone who has some sort of, not like stupid response, because I answer them with a stupid response back. But if someone really disagrees with me, I'd be like, hey, jump into Discord. We can talk this privately. We can go live if you want to. Like, just let's just have that conversation. But a lot of them don't do that. So it's like, yeah, a lot of them are suckers. Just trolling in there. I kind of started doing that, especially like with Ben Shapiro or Candace Owens. Like when because I'm subscribed to them, unfortunately, so I see a lot of their community posts and everything, and like I know, like it sounds just like that. Like I'm triggered every time I'm scrolling through my YouTube channel, like because I see, man, for the content, man, this. I know, man, but it's rough. You ain't, yeah, exactly what you're imagining. That's how I feel every time scrolling. I'm subscribed to Matt Walsh and Steven Crowder. Yeah, subscribe to all of them. Yeah, it's rough, man. That's why I'm always on edge. I'm always like in debate mode all the time because I see stuff like that. Ooh, shoot, hold on. Um, talk real quick, guys. Because someone in the chat said that they couldn't hear you guys' audio. Let's see. Shoot, that's not good. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how they were feeling just now. Like this Negro is really talking to himself, and we have no idea why he went live randomly talking to himself. Um. Okay, so I got Plan B. Plan B. Let's turn off the headphones. So maybe let's go with speaker. All right, talk for me, guys. Yeah, I'm not hearing you. Okay, now I think we got something. All
Right
right,
again.
DeAndre, can you, if you're still watching, hopefully still watching, can you hear everybody now? Um,
How you doing? I'm Ty.
What's
yeah,
good?
Got a detailer on YouTube.
go for it. Let's introduce ourselves to the people who may not know you guys.
Yeah, I'm Ty, the detailer on YouTube.
All right, go for it, E-Wade.
Do you want me to turn my camera on now?
Oh yeah, you're good.
All right. Let's see. All right.
All right, perfect.
All right.
And
Well, I'm good.
yeah,
All right.
perfect.
All right. Well,
All right, loud and clear. Okay, he hears everybody now, so that works. Okay, almost had a scare there because I'm like I said, like it takes a lot of setting up for this, and I literally have to just teach myself all this complicated situation I got going on here. But we're good. So today,
How did you meet that one guy?
oh no, go for it.
How did you meet that? What's his name? The one guy who was conservative, the black conservative guy.
Oh, who we were talking to in the disco for a second.
Yeah, what happened to him?
Well, one, I don't know what happened. I didn't kick him out the Discord, and if you read my message, I kicked about like 10 people out the Discord because I would never hear them talk. You know what I'm saying? And that was kind of getting annoying. But um, I didn't kick him out, but he just stopped talking. He just stopped coming into the Discord. But I mean, maybe it's because we were calling his bull every time, but you know that's what happens when you bring weak arguments. So
Yeah. I did say something to him, and he said no. I was right. He basically needed a break from us.
he needed a break.
Yeah.
All right. So today we're gonna be talking about reparations, Black history, collectibles or items, and Marianne Williamson, and essentially whatever we want to talk about. I think we got like a good solid hour and some change. So feel free to kind of express your thoughts. But let's go ahead and talk about reparations. And go ahead and speak how you feel. Like I said, like we ain't gonna censor anything how we feel. We just gonna just let it out there. So Mr. Ewed, I know you're really passionate about this subject at the moment. So if you want to start the conversation, go for it.
Yeah. Let me make sure I got a chance to introduce myself.
Oh,
My
yeah,
bad. My actual name is Eric. It's just Wade is my middle name. So that's where the whole E-Wade thing comes from.
Okay, perfect.
So really, the thing about reparations is that I think our approach is wrong. Not so much asking for not so much cash demands. I think that needs to be secondary. The issue has been historical reality is the reason why we're not getting it. So our opposition to a white supremacist superstructure that's kept capitalism in place. So we've actually, in effect, been a challenge to white supremacy and capitalism at the same time. So a lot of that is basically the reason you don't have reparations.
Is because essentially capitalism and just the way that it operates and it functions.
Right, basically, essentially racial capitalism.
Yeah. Racial, okay.
And it's like if you're sitting there just asking for cash demands, I'm looking at all the people in Phil Scott's chat. I'm like, you're asking for cash demands from a capitalist class that is going to means test the hell out of your cash demands.
That's true.
And on top of that, you have what I like to call it this. I like to call it a rainbow petty bourgeoisie. That you have people that are skin folk but not kinfolk. They look like us, but then they'll function against us. So, okay, it's a transfer of capital that's going to be controlled, even if you get it.
Yeah. So
that's what I'm saying. Like, eventually, you're going to have to contend with capitalism anyway. You're going to have to overthrow the system.
So we got to do essentially. I don't want to say it's impossible because throughout history, things have happened but essentially do something close to impossible to then achieve something impossible. Essentially, because
I mean, essentially, but it's like, okay, well, I mean, like and I like the way Richard Wolff explains it, because slavery had its own internal contradictions as a mass society. Ended. Feudalism had its mass contradictions, internal contradictions. Capitalism, same thing, mass internal contradictions. It's eventually going to go bye-bye. Every system's born, evolves over time, and dies.
All right, Mr. Ty, how do you feel about reparations? And Ty has.
I bet I take myself off mute. So I guess you have to, like, I don't want nobody deciding on what I am to be paid and how I'm getting paid. I don't like that. I kind of see what you're saying, but I want cash, or not cash, but money sitting to my account. You know what I'm saying? But then also, like when I grew up, when I was growing up, my mother didn't teach me how to manage my money. She thinks she did, but she really didn't. So I would want to have, like, what do you call it? I keep calling them financial firms, to be paid so that they can teach us how to manage our money properly, plan ahead.
Yeah.
I think that would be part of the deal. And then also, I was talking about this in the server, but create an entity to also help us manage businesses, how the Jewish community manages their community. They manage businesses that way. They have their own security in the neighborhood. Also, the Aboriginals, the Native Americans, and how they manage their communities. So that's what I was thinking about. That's what I would push for, not just for funds to be sent to us, but also um I, agencies to help us with finding our missing people, since there's a percentage of Black women out there missing and not being taken care or not being found.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Stuff for things for the Black community, and that we can do ourselves.
Okay, that makes sense. I think so. Of course, reparations needs to be paid. So that's, we all agree on that. Um, I think, of course, it's not gonna be just cash. I think it needs to be cash plus. I think it needs to be uh land. I think it needs to be um like some sort of like capital, something. And once again, like, we have smart people to kind of figure all this out. But it definitely needs to be more than cash. But the one thing I feel that is definitely holding any of this from, huh? What do you mean? Okay. All right, shut the door. Let's see. Hold on one second. I need to check something because
Go live, buddy.
you say what?
I said that's what happens when you go live.
I know, like you got to be ready for any. All right, so I hear myself. Hey, wait, say something for me real quick.
Yeah. You hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, I have no idea what they're talking about.
In chat?
No, my wife, because my wife's mom watches, and she says she can't hear nothing, but I don't know what she's talking about. Like I can hear myself on the stream, and I heard you guys, so we're just gonna continue. But
That's what
someone said in the chat, property is the way to start building generational wealth. Definitely. And I'm pretty sure there's other economical ways that we can kind of, I don't want to say foolproof, because once again, like if you gave me $100,000 today, a good chunk of that is going to get spent by the end of the night. I'm just going to be honest. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm pretty savvy with money, but like if it's mine, I got some things to pay for and that I want. But like if you was to give land, to me it's a little harder to F that up. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not gonna just, well, hopefully you just don't sell your land. Hopefully you're like, damn, I got some land, let me build on it. Let me, make some use out of it. But like I was saying, like the one thing I think that will prevent any of this from happening is there's no unison. And when I say no, like, of course there's, folks like us, but like for, 13, 14 million African Americans in America, like you can't get us to agree that Tupac is dead. You know what I'm saying? Like we still can't get past that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and just how our culture divides everybody by essentially saying, and I guess this is where capitalism kicks in, because this is something we're taught as kids, is to worry about yourself, to look out for self, to only, if it doesn't benefit you, then it's not going to work. And that's essentially, capitalism in a nutshell. So it just feels like it's so many hurdles we have to get over as a people before we can even, demand anything from our government. You know what I'm saying? So it just feels like it's so many Goliath. You know David and Goliath, right? It's so many of those giants that we have to face, and it just feels like it's not gonna be in our lifetime. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't know, and this is where the whole leadership conversation kicks in, because you know we had the leaders before us to kind of defeat one giant after another, and now it's just like, you know, niggas just gave up. Like, okay, well, we got a little money, but it's like, no, there's a lot more that needs to be done. You know what I'm saying? So, what do you guys think about that?
I mean, a lot of our radicals are either like murdered, bought off, or thrown underneath the prison, and a lot of that radical energy was just destroyed to maintain capital. So when you brought up hyper individualism earlier, that's what's being taught an aspect of culture. It's like it's a base of superstructure within capitalism. That hyper individualism is used to maintain the system. So of course you had to get rid of the radicals, you had to get rid of the communists, the socialists, the Marxists, labor. You have to get rid of all of that. That's why, like, you have people like FDR in his correspondence with his brother that said the greatest accomplishment he did something along those lines, that he saved capitalism. So it's like, bro, everybody knew, like, in between the Palmer raids, between all the targeting black radicals, COINTELPRO, all that shit. Yeah, all that was just done to maintain capital. Even though, like, during the Great Depression, capitalism clearly failed.
Yeah.
We fast forward to 2008, that was a failure. We fast forward to 2020, COVID and a downturn.
Did you already mention what, 2008 when Obama?
And
yeah. Okay, yeah, because that was a fail. Like,
and then 2020 with both COVID and an economic collapse.
Yeah.
What the hell? You know, like, what? And it's like, as the system keeps going, it's going to keep creating its own critics and its own antithesis. So, really, I mean, eventually people are going to get radicalized just by what's going on now. I'm surprised that I even have high schoolers that have read the Communist Manifesto, of all things. And I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, dear God, man. Like, and then, you know, teachers, we get blamed for this stuff. We get blamed. I'm like, no, your kid is reading this on their own.
Yeah. And maybe these kids have two eyes and a functional brain, and they can kind of see, and they're aware of our environment. So it's kind of obvious.
Yeah.
Mr. Ty, answer this question, Mr. DeAndre, which I appreciate you watching, DeAndre. He says, how do you decide who gets reparations and how much? That's the larger issue about reparations.
My bad for starting to not let you finish.
No,
but a lot is the checking, you know, someone's lineage. Honestly, because now we have a lot of mixed race people here.
Yeah.
Not just because you're straight black, but you know, some people were you know, raped by white men. Even the white females, they had some babies, black men. So yeah, checking it, and also wanted to say something about two things: leaders, leaders and land. So the leaders, I would want to see those. You know those two congressmen or senators, were they, who got they got what is it called, fired or pushed out of that seats, but then they got them back.
Oh,
I think they would be very
two young black dudes.
The dudes out of Tennessee.
Yeah, those two guys. They
Yeah.
would be very perfect candidates, or someone like them. But when I think of leaders, I think of them only because Roland Martin and Phil Scott and Dr. Rashard Ritchie, they don't want to be leaders. They want to be the voice of the leaders, or voice for the people.
Yeah.
But those two young guys from Tennessee, they would be, or someone similar to them would be the perfect type of leader. So that we would want to look for uh, people with their qualities. And then with land, so land is claimed here in the United States, and also there may be some people who they want, like, I want a specific land, I want a specific house in my neighborhood right now. That's what I want. And some people may want some vacant land, a lot, but there's a lot of people. So with a lot of black people. So what are we going to do about that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I would say when it comes to the interracial aspect of it, once again, I know it's going to be difficult, but this is the cause of kicking this can down the road for so many centuries, obviously. But of course, this is something that, people are just going to have to figure it out, because like you say, I guess doing a DNA test, if you're actual descendants of slaves, what is that, like DOS or something like that?
ADOS.
Yeah, I think that's a good starting point. But I seen this one black guy on YouTube, and I was gonna make a video of it, but then I was like, it's kind of stupid. But I mean, I guess now that I think, it's a good question. He was like, and I would have to verify this information, but I don't know, I'll have to verify this now, because he said something along the lines of, there was black people also here that owned slaves, black slaves. And he was like, well, do they owe reparations? And my first initial thought is, and this is where and DeAndre says, are you willing to submit your DNA test to the government to prove lineage? I actually already did a DNA test last week, so I guess the government already got my information. Like they know where I live and everything. So I think you would definitely have to do that. But what a lot of people get confused is, which I guess it doesn't matter at this point, but the government is responsible to pay reparations. I don't expect the government to go to each person's house and take out of their account money. But I mean, that's what taxes is for. And we did it for the Japanese. We did it for the indigenous people. We did it for Jewish people. So it's like, why not? You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't see too much pushback, or at least the information that I looked up, it wasn't that much pushback. They just got it done. You know what I'm saying? So
have you had a chance?
Go for it.
Have you had a chance to read Stephanie Kelton's book on modern monetary theory?
I haven't. I definitely put that on my list.
Because this whole understanding of how stuff gets allocated is ridiculous on people's part, because it wouldn't even be out of people's taxes. We spin money into existence. We have a fiat currency. I mean, your taxes are used to what? Like, prevent inflation?
Interesting. I'm gonna have to look that up.
So, because it's like, okay, it's not that you have this unlimited ability. It's just you do have real constraints. Your consequence is inflation.
So essentially, they can make it happen.
Yeah, they can make it happen. It's not even an issue of if you have the money. It's if Congress has the willpower if Congress even wants to do it. That's the actual question. But like I said, like with who was asking the question again? DeAndre, was it?
Yeah. He said, how do you decide who gets reparations and how much?
Now see, that's the question. That's the question I'm trying to avoid. Because now we don't want to get into this war about, well, he got this, why can't I get this? And, some black folks do. Like,
oh yeah.
I see him this. Why the hell he got this and I can't get this? Bruh, we're all getting fucked by the same people. Like, what? We're getting messed over by the same people.
Yeah.
I guess that's why I frame it like I do. Because ultimately,
also to the comment about black people own slaves, they thought that was the way of life back then. They thought that's what was going to happen. So that shouldn't count. That's canceled out. That doesn't even make sense.
We're talking about the overall general, I guess, users of slavery, and I'm pretty sure those slave owners didn't prosperous as much as white slave owners, and for what 200 something years, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see any wealthy black family that had passed down that generational wealth from slavery. But I mean, I've seen a couple of stories where they were able to actually track down from some of these, especially like banking entities and some of these corporations that benefited from slavery. So I mean, I definitely agree there. Like, unless you done came up and made some money and you pass this down from generation to generation, yeah, we ain't gonna touch your money, but you know. So let's talk about old boy in California who decided. I remember, this is a big conversation. California is soon to be giving reparations for black folks, and this is getting all the Republicans stirred up and just sweating. And some talks was like, I heard $100 something $1,000 per black person. Then it went up to like 300. Then I heard someone say $1 million at one point. But then all that, and then just a couple weeks ago, or maybe a week, old boy's like, hey, the people he sent to study this information and to get back with them with the results, they say, yeah, it's gonna be X amount of dollars, which was in the hundreds of thousands, and to be continued. Like, hey, this isn't it, but when it comes to money, this is what we came up with. And he was like, yeah, that's not gonna work. And I'm paraphrasing. He said, yeah, that's not gonna work. We want reparations, but yeah, that's that money's not gonna happen. That's essentially what he said. So it just had me thinking, like, they ain't gonna never, like, they're not going to do it on their own behalf. Like you say, like, it's gonna have to be people getting up in their face and kind of forcing this to happen. But after I seen that, and I almost had high hopes. I was almost one of those people like, you know what? Even though I don't live in California and I'm not gonna see none of that money, I hope they do, because then that'll cause hopefully a ripple effect. You know what I'm saying? But after I seen that, I'm like, all these politicians and even Marianne Williams saying, well, we're going to have people talk about this, and, we're going to have black leaders try to figure this out and blah, blah. Like, old boy said that too. He just gave us a hard no, try again. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you guys feel about that situation?
Of course it was going to be a no. I just went, here we go. This is another politician just stringing people along for a ride. Here we go.
But you didn't have a little hope? You weren't like, maybe
because
he might do it?
No, I know. Look, you're not going to concede any real capital. You're not going to concede capital unless you're going to means test the hell out of it, or you have some type of fucked up way to make it useless. And so the way I look at that is just like, bro, like you did all that, you did all this grandstanding, you hyped people up. People had to realize it wasn't gonna happen. And on top of that, even in that way, I don't even think you want it to happen that way. Because now, and this is why I try to tell some black folks on Phil's channels again, there's this thing called class antagonism. And you get it. What's stopping a politician from going to other people within the proletariat itself, whether it's Hispanic folks, Asian folks, white people, whatever, going, you see what those black people got? You see what they got? But yeah, why the fuck didn't we get shit? And then it's a whole mess. So it's like people aren't thinking about, okay, if the capitalist class is going to concede something, they're going to concede it and find a way to either minimize what you get or ultimately flip it against you to make sure their capital is still entrenched. I mean, that's what I'm like. You can't keep doing this. You can't keep doing reform with no real revolutionary threat behind the reform.
Yeah.
If you're going to about it that way. So, I mean, that could be another idea, reform versus revolution, but that's an entirely different discussion. That's a discussion that's existed since any of us were born.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So Mr. DeAndre said, printing more money to give reparations would increase inflation, which would devalue the money they are giving. I've heard that statement before. Go for it.
You don't necessarily have to print it. Most of that is like how people got their stimulus checks. That wasn't printed. A lot of that was keystrokes. They gave the game away when they gave the stimulus checks. That was done by keystrokes as direct deposits in people's accounts. Yeah, so it's a whole mess of explanation. I'm not the guy to go to on this.
Yeah.
But it's a whole mess. It's a whole mess of explanation. Like I said, Stephanie Kelton's book on MMT. There's a video on the Sustainable Human channel with Richard Wolff, Stephanie Kelton, and I don't think I posted that one.
Yeah, post that one because I'm gonna have to look that up because
I'll dig and find it. But yeah, it's them just talking about how the monetary system actually works. How basically we have more debt than we have money printed or something like that. And it's a whole mess with having our currency the way we do.
Okay. Let's see. He said print is a generic. Okay, there you go. A generic term, I'm assuming, for increasing the volume of currency. That, I mean, maybe. Do we really this and once again, I'm not an expert when it comes to, economics and inflation. I just know a nice handful. But no one seems to ever have these issues when these billionaires and millionaires get all this money, when they get all their tax breaks, when the government is subsidizing Elon Musk for another business or whatever space, company he wants to start up. Like none of these conversations are brought up. They're just given and like, oh, he's a millionaire, he'll do something amazing with it. But every time, and I'm not saying DeAndre is one of these people, but when it's like, hey, now we're gonna have a conversation about giving money to, non-rich folks or like Elon Musk type, then it's always like, well, in inflation, or X, Y, and Z example, and it's like, I don't think that's a fair argument or a fair lineup.
Well, it goes back to like, if assuming, I don't know if that's his intent or not. I can't really say, but it goes back to how most people see themselves as embarrassed millionaires instead of an overexploited people.
Mm.
Yeah, it's just, and of course, because people aren't brought up to thinking more in terms of class, and we have a lot of these problems.
Yeah.
And of course, our system can't solve them because it only exacerbates them.
Well, shoot. Well, once again, like I said, I'm definitely gonna have to do a little bit more research. Letting business capitalize the gains and socializing the loss. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's basically the name of the game.
Yeah. And like you said, like I don't know, it's gonna have to be a movement after a movement after a movement to slowly defeat these giants, to slowly get over these hurdles, and then eventually we can have an honest conversation about reparations, and then maybe hopefully get something done. But I do like the idea. When Ty brought up it in the Discord, he was like, there's about 13, 14 million black folks in America, right? Let's just count half of them, because half of them probably hate themselves and hate other black folks. So about 7 million African Americans, let's just say all of them gave one entity $1 to try to I guess if every black person gave $1 a week, that'd be about $7 million a week. We're giving and taking here just for the sake of math. And we were tasked the job to make, X, Y, and Z, whatever we decide is important to tackle, whatever the situation is. One, how do you feel about that idea? And two, do you think that we can even organize ourselves to even accomplish? Because it seems simple, like, hey,
it's been done before.
Yeah, but it like I said in Discord, like it just feels like when it comes to black people,
we're too atomized.
A lot.
Yeah, we're way too atomized.
And it's like we can make so much happen with just $1. You know what I'm saying? That's not even asking a lot, And it's like,
I'm about to add another book to your reading list.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Collective. It's a history of African American economic thought.
Yeah, add that in the Discord, because I'm starting to run out of books.
Yeah.
Check.
Yeah.
Check out what the doctor said in the chat. She said she's talking in the chat. She said they aren't, because people are investing in their success. Reparations would bankrupt them, and you could organize, but that needs to be a movement. And we are suspicious of things that are hard. But we give these dollars, and I guess everybody can comment at the. I say this. We give these dollars to Roland Martin and these other podcasts. Why not invest in ourselves? But like I said, people want incentives. There's one of my mentors who was white. These people educate me, and they said people love incentives. So give them an incentive to give that $1 up.
Give them an incentive. I would say if we was to give $1 a week to an entity, and like you say, in a perfect world, the transparency is A+. You know what I'm saying? They have a website to where you can track every dollar. If you wanted to, you can, have, records of who's giving the money, so we know, not shady corporations is funding us, or, just some of the typical things that people like to complain about. Let's say all that was on point. We can
why Why not have corporations as long as we're using the money? They're not getting anything.
Well, when I say like shady corporations, well, I don't think they would ever back anything but the NRA, if they wanted to be like, hey, power to the pod, like here's, $10 million, like even the perception is going to be, oh, they're going to do their bidding, or they're going to, look out for, or they're going to deny any gun legislation or any conversations that has to do with gun reform. You know what I'm saying? So like, some money, at least to me, would have to be strictly watched or just denied. But like, hey, I appreciate that, but this grassroots entity is ran by the people. So we're not gonna be taking no one's back. We're not gonna be trying to please people who's giving us millions of dollars, because I'm human too, and if the NRA came to me as like, hey, Mr. Superior, here's $10 million, like how do you feel about gun reform now? Like that $10 million, man, that's a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just gonna be honest, like, whew, I might be sweating a little bit, like, damn, but to stop that from happening, or even the perception of it, is gonna be like, hey, this is ran by the people, you know what I'm saying? And this can only be successful because people are willing to give a little bit to make this happen. Let me see. Curious on what that incentive could be. I think like big. Okay. Ooh, here's a beautiful example. With the story with Jordan Neely and his killer, Penny. In Florida, they started a GoFundMe, and now it's up to $2 million something, probably $3 million at this point. Yeah, that's something that this entity could do. Be like, hey, Jordan Neely and his family needs money to fight this case. Boom, we got you. You know what I'm saying? Like simple. It's not simple because that's millions of dollars. But I mean, like I say, if half of black population in America gave $1, I'm pretty sure we could, have a good legal team to handle this. You know what I'm saying? So I think situations like that, like for example, in Michigan, in Flint, they didn't have water, or do you know if they have water or clean water?
No, they're just still fucked up.
They're still.
It's been like 10 years. It's going on. Yes. Welcome to capitalism in the United States. Jesus Christ.
So that's what I'm saying. If black folks gave $1, and for 1 month we saved that up, I'm pretty sure it doesn't take that much money to fix that. If we got what, 7, 14, $21 million, something gonna get fixed. Somebody gonna have some clean water at the end of the day with $21 million. Hell, give $2 if you care. We'll make that happen. Incentives like that. You know what I'm saying? If a black neighborhood is facing
evictions. About the situation in Jackson too.
Really?
Jackson, Mississippi. Yeah. When one person showed one person on the faucet and it came out like black.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like I think that's an incentive enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, it may not be on a personal level. We may not be able to get every black person a Benz. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe in 20 years, if we fixed every issue, then guess what? Everyone gets a Benz, I guess. I don't know. But like, that's the thing. Like, trying to convince someone like, hey, if you give $2, we can help black folks in Jacksonville. You know what I'm saying? Like, they would need to not worry about themselves. Like, well, what do I personally get out of this? I'm giving my $1 a week. What do I get? Well, I don't know, a picture with a celebrity? I don't know. But like, everything can't just be about you. And that's what I feel is going to be the biggest hurdle to get over.
It doesn't.
Go for it.
monetary. The incentive doesn't have to be monetary. It does. You don't have to. You just have to. It could just. We have the internet now. We free access to something. Free access to
Yeah.
what we need a car service. You need your car worked on. We can help you get a discount with that type of thing.
Hey,
Help people save.
I actually like that. Like a society, like a group. Like, hey, who did it best? What was that? The Nation of Islam. Now that you mention it, like when someone entered into that fellowship, they took on a lot of benefits. Essentially, like, you know, hey, you mess with one, you mess with all, and you know they took care of each other, and like DeAndre says, healthcare. Oh, I guess that's actually a really good benefit right there. Like, if you can't pay a health bill that's just out of your range, and your insurance company is messing up, boom, we got you. Or even start our own insurance. You know what I'm saying? Not one where we're just gonna like take your arm and a leg so you can pay your, you know, diabetes medicine. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can actually do it right. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I'm not a healthcare professional or expert, so I don't really know the ins and outs, but I'm pretty sure, you know, they're gouging people one way or another. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to be a rocket science to understand that. That's one thing that could benefit the individual on a basic level. What do you guys think?
Speaking of medical debt, it's disgusting that this country does have that as a thing.
Oh, it's weird.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird and disgusting. It's just like, you mean to tell me you're the richest country in the world and you can't guarantee healthcare to every single man, woman, and child, but places in Africa can figure this thing out? Yeah. I'm like, you look stupid to the rest of the industrialized world that can actually figure this thing out, but we can't. Or, I'm sorry, we don't want to. That's better.
There you go.
We don't actually want to. So, because again, we have racial capitalism. We play this stupid game. Man, ultimately, we're gonna have to have a mass rebuild society. Like,
oh yeah,
I get your idea on the whole healthcare of having your own healthcare system, but I don't know. It kind of feels like trying to play their game, but you know you're not going to be better at them at it.
Oh yeah,
yeah. It's just sure. Like it's just like I'm kind of scratching my head about the playing the capitalist game if the rules, well, at all actually. I know it's basically like you got to do something. You can't just sit and do nothing.
Yeah.
But it's like, what was Fred Hampton's quote? Socialism is the people. If you're afraid of socialism, you're afraid of yourself.
I never heard that quote.
Yeah, that's Fred.
Oh, that's my dude, Fred Hampton.
Yeah, that's a Fred Hampton.
That's my dude. The doctor. We need to figure out their real name, but they said we are taught to be sketchy of one another, and once again, that's kind of I guess kind of built into our culture, is to always, you know, look at everyone, you know, who's asking you, you know, for some money, to kind of look at them a little sketchy. That's kind of built into our culture. And they said they don't care because illness is money, and that's why
that has to stop.
Oh yeah, and that's the reason why.
That's why we need it. That's why we need an NHS type of healthcare system.
Oh yeah, here. Because
it's like you can't make that transactional. That's not.
What's the NHS healthcare system?
So basically, what they have is, it is in almost every social democracy has this. They have basically a socialized healthcare system where they actually pay. It's not even that much. They pay out of their own taxes, but ultimately, you don't get a bill for like your like if you hurt yourself or um whatever. You usually don't get a bill or for like take and for any women watching this, because this country does this. Just remember, at least there, you don't have to pay to hold your kid. You don't have to pay $40 to hold your kid.
Really?
Yeah, because we have to do that here.
That's crazy.
One lady's like, I have to pay $39.35 to hold my baby after he was born. And skin, it's like literally says skin to skin contact.
Just any way, and that's what I'm saying. Like for anything to really,
people not embarrassed by that though. Like,
yeah, it's like no, like, and with this entity, I think, which I mean, now that I think of it, if we was to really start something like that, like, yeah, hey, you know, government is gonna be shady. They gonna, yeah. With this entity, we could take care of that. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, like I said, if we can make that happen, the sky's the limit. You know, forget. I mean, we can have our own insurance. We can start our own healthcare entity. You know what I'm saying? Like with giving $1 a week, $2 a week, or whatever your heart desires, whatever you can give. That's how you, I think, a way to combat capitalism, and at the same time, not being able for them to stop it. Because, like we said in the Discord, like to have one leader is cool, but what's the chances of him getting infiltrated or murdered or kind of just blackballed? And it's high. But you can't do that to a whole group of people. I mean, you can, but I mean, we gonna fight back. But
yeah, it's just the fact that I mean, you can't really do it the same way they're doing it. Like it would have to be because if you get too big, you're a threat to them.
But how are they gonna stop the threat? That's what I'm talking about. If it's millions of black people giving $1, $2, yeah, then you know the IRS and you know they're gonna try their. But if we're doing everything transparent and you know, once again, I'm not a professional at this. How are they gonna stop us?
I mean, if you're talking about like cash on table, it'd be hard to track that. I'm saying, assuming you decentralize it, it would be hard to stop, but it doesn't mean it can't be stopped.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It just means like
that's why you make things public, and you include. I don't know what these checks and balance. When I say checks and balances, I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about you put things in place so people won't do certain things. You make it public so people can look up the information. You have your own I know a friend who owns his own security service, internet security. He worked for the IRS. He did contracts with the IRS, and the government. And you get those types of people to get to provide a public internet service so that we can look up these types of things. And we also we have a doctor right here. We can ask her how the healthcare system is, you know what I'm saying? And she can explain that to us, give us some ideas.
Yeah, Dr. Jackson, yeah. Oh, she's a psychologist.
Oh, she said these are old tactics.
So, I mean, when
yeah. They will do to our people. That's what she's saying. I believe.
But like I said, if it's not just one person, you know, if it's not just a Martin Luther King that's leading this entity, and it's really ran by the people, like, you gonna have to kill a lot of people to get this to really shut down the normal way they've done it.
But also, here's the thing. No, go ahead.
The voice and the spokesperson is the leader. They're not really making the decisions. They're just saying, "Hey, this is what we have," and they are the words of inspiration.
Yeah. And I think that's a good idea. And I mean, again, they will kill leaders. They don't care. They will. I mean, and
it also goes to, it also goes to, like, again, back to class solidarity. It's like, it's not going to be just us anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You also have more class conscious white people as these young kids are growing up. So it's like you have class conscious white people, class conscious Hispanic people, ultimately, and it's kind of the way I think. It's kind of the way I think Lorenzo frames it in his book. That I think is going to get added to your reading list again. Anarchism and the Black Revolution. It's kind of what he thinks with anarchism, and like just ultimately understanding that you can't centralize power. You're gonna have to build things up into smaller, like, affinity groups in the federations. Yeah, it goes to that, and ultimately it's just gonna be one giant class war. and
I think with just the numbers on paper, I think we, and of course, when I say this, I'm just like oversimplifying it. I'm pretty sure there's 1,000,001 little, but I mean, they're 1%. Yeah, maybe 2 if you want to be generous and kind of count, but they're 2%, and we're 98. And if we can get 50% of us, which is being kind of generous, it might be a little lower, because once again, I think there's a lot of idiots out there, and like you say, people who just don't want to, do anything positive in the world. If we can get 45% of people to unite and be like, hey, we gonna change this. We're not relying on DeSantis. We're not relying on Joe Biden. We gonna do this ourselves because we got the power. It's gonna be hard to stop 45% of Americans to do anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, the it's just the power. It's just like with stuff like this, like Section 1021 of the NDA, the National Defense Authorization Act under Obama. That was scary.
Yeah,
because you have the effect of repeal. What was it that Chris said it was? It was the Kazi Comitatus Act or something, and basically the military can basically effectively run the streets, and I'm like, God damn. Like, you're literally trying to play a game of you don't even trust the police at this point.
Oh yeah.
You're just like, yeah, fuck them. We're gonna use the military to crush your asses. And because at this point the elites are scared. It's kind of like the George Floyd protests scared the shit out of them.
Yeah.
And that's why that got crushed so fast. It's like, damn, you need revolutionary energy in this country. But it's going to matter where it comes from. Does it come from the anger of the right of the far right? Does it come from the MAGA crowd of anger? Do you really want that anger? Or do you want a more radical, quote unquote, radical left anger to deal with? I mean, eventually you're going to eventually both you're going to deal with one or the other. And slash or both. It's a matter of which one you really want to deal with. And I think the capitalist class would rather deal with the right than to deal with anything, than any radicals, any labor, or anything like that. It's an unholy alliance between like fascists and capitalists that have taken place and shit. It's just ridiculous.
Go ahead, Dr. Jackson. I'm sorry.
Good evening. I'm sorry. I didn't just volunteer to come off mute earlier. I just wanted to point out a couple of things. You have to understand that you being and you existing is a threat. So it doesn't matter what positive or if you're negative, if you're militant or not, you're a threat. If you are causing a whole bunch of people, even 45%, 45% of us is a lot
Oh
of people.
yeah.
There's a lot of people, right? And you just say, oh, we're going to just give $1. You don't understand that even with that dollar, with 45% and that becoming $8 billion, that can be spread amongst all Black people to put them in a positive position. You have to understand that becomes a threat because they see your uprise or your elevation as a threat. So
Oh
if it
yeah.
was 50%, it would be a threat. If your mindset was, Martin Luther King was peaceful, but as Dr. Umar said, there was nothing nonviolent about the way that he was treated.
That's a good point.
So these people didn't have $1 that they raised. All right, they raised money within their churches to do various things. Back in the day, you have to understand that they will go back to the old books and they will treat you the same way they did before. Because if they do that, then they neutralize the enemy, which is you. If Black people understood that we had the buying power to overcome the economy, which we do, because if we had that 95% that you started out in the beginning, but then reduced it to 45% because some people are misoriented, they don't even believe that they're Black and there's no such thing as race,
Yeah.
we have to count in those folks. So if you did that, right, and
Yeah.
all of those people had an opportunity to get to be connected in that way, that means you're unified.
Yeah.
And if you unified and there's millions of unified, why do you think the Willie Lynch letter was written? Because
Yeah.
you
Good point.
knew if you had control, if you knew how many slaves could have got together and did this and do that, they did it and they pitted us against each other in a psychological warfare, right? So that we would not even trust each other. And that's why we can't even give $1. Well, where's my dollar going? Now it's $1 now, but we want to know where it's going, where it's being spent on. Now, see, I'm a church woman. So I know when we give money in the church, oh, they're counting every penny. Oh, well, I want to know where my tithes are going to, even if it's for something like that. And we are taught to be very suspicious of each other, very suspicious of money. That is a Willie Lynch syndrome side effect. So if you're talking about mobilizing people for, even if it is for the greater good, even if we're not bothering anybody, when you mobilize people, you're getting hordes of people together to go against something, you're going to be a threat. They will kill you. They will kill all your leaders.
Yeah.
Kill everybody if they have to make an example. If you don't believe me, go back, because they're going to go back to the old book.
Yeah.
You're going back to Jim Crow. You're going back to Martin Luther King, Malcolm X being killed, all these different people, and they use people around them to get to them. So that is an age-old thing. What you're talking about is great. That sounds wonderful. But you have to understand the danger as well.
Well,
now let me
take
this.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry. Let me take this a little bit further. When you have new ideas that require people to be uplifted and going to another level, usually that idea dies with the person who came up with it.
That's a good point. Yeah.
That's why we don't have gas that runs on corn oil. That's why we don't have certain. That's why we have certain inventions that were stolen from people to keep them from bringing it to fruition, because it would have taken money for the general capitalistic society, because it's a threat. So you have to be ambitious,
Oh yeah.
but there's a lot of people who are dead because of ambitiousness. In fact, there's a quote that says there's a lot of people who are Mount Everest, a lot of bodies on Mount Everest because they were ambitious. So it has to be planned out well, and it has to be done well. And you're gonna have to have people who are your allies. And I don't know if people are up for people to have allies, but there are white people who are allies. You have to have them,
Yeah.
because you have to have those people to speak on your behalf. That's the way that things change, unfortunately, but also fortunately.
And,
Oh.
There is a there,
go for it.
yeah, with the white people speaking for you, there's a fine line between speaking for you and speaking with you.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you have a lot of white liberals that like to speak for black people, but you have white class allies that will speak with us.
And
It's like we can't let people like speak for us and whitewashing what has been said. Sure. And that's what I said. Ultimately, again, back to my point about class war. That's why this time is different, because now you have generations of more integrated peoples who are in the same class struggle.
So to add on that, because what you guys said is 100% true and amazing. One thing we would have to be sure, and me and my cousin had this conversation, and to kind of adopt what the Black Panther Party of Self-Defense did, Huey P. Newton said, hey, white folks, they can join our party. You know what I'm saying? They can, work on the after school lunch programs. They can do this and this, but they will never run one of these institutions or programs. And it's like, cause like you say, the spokesperson or the leader or the head of whatever is important. You know what I'm saying? And once again, just looking at history, some ill-intentioned white people have hijacked, examples like this. And just to prevent that from happening, I wouldn't allow that to happen. Two, to go back to what Dr. Jackson was talking about, one, you will definitely be a threat. That's without a doubt. You know what I'm saying? But like you say, to have something like this actually be meaningful and impactful, and not just in your life, but generations later, like, it's gonna have to be some sacrifices. And without those emboldened people, like, we're going to be having this conversation 10 years from now, 20 years from now. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, once again, you will never know how you're gonna act in a situation until you're in it. You know what I'm saying? So take this however you want to take it, but somebody has to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if you guys know me well enough. You guys just, see me on the YouTube, but someone needs to do it. And if nobody else is going to do it, I will have to do it. You know what I'm saying? Because if you know your potential, and if you die tomorrow, your family and generations after you are going to be in the same piss poor situation that you died in. And I don't want that to happen. You know what I'm saying? And it's almost a slap in the face to the Martin Luther Kings, the Malcolm X's, the Huey P. Newtons, the W.E.B. Du Bois's, the Frederick Douglass, the Nat Turners. Yeah, it's a slap in their face if we look ourselves in the mirror and be like, I ain't gonna do it. Especially if you have the intellectual capacity to do it. Not everybody's a good speaker. Not everybody's a good reader and can do these fights. I get that. But if you know you have that potential, to me, that's, you know, I'm gonna look at you a little funny. Like, what you doing? You know, so and I believe it's more than just one black person. It's more than just me out there. I know that for sure. And if we can get all these people to be on the same page, they can take me out. Well, guess what? You got 500,000 other like-minded people to take out. And then at that point, you know, and they come in different shades. It's not just black folks, white folks, Mexican, Indian, Asian. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to take a lot of people out. And I don't think they're gonna win that kind of fight.
That's the whole reason why political education is so important.
Yeah. That's right.
Because one of the criticisms from some former Panthers about the Black Panthers was the whole aspect of unchecked and unquestionable leadership. That was something Ashanti talked about. Ashanti Alston, I posted that video up. Yeah. And Lorenzo talks about it too in his book. And because he went from being an MLM, a Marxist-Leninist Maoist, to an anarchist. So I'm gonna basically tell him a little bit about the book. He met Martin Sortse in prison, who was an Afro-Hispanic anarchist. He was black and Puerto Rican. And like I said, you'll read all this if you get the book. But that was the critique from some of the black anarchists who were Marxist-Leninist Maoists in the Black Panther Party. And so that's what brought up the conversation about decentralizing power, period. And ultimately, like you said, at the end of the day, like for everyone you take out, there's like 4 people to come and replace you.
Yep.
Because there is no center leader. It's like everybody can just step in who has that political education. That's how it's gonna have to be. And yeah, it's just between all the different the climate crisis, between the infrastructure BS we got going on in America, because between Flint and Jackson, I bet money they're not the only 2 water crises. We just don't know about the others.
Exactly.
And we have a failing empire that can't see itself for what it actually is. So you have people in denial. You have an economy that's doing what it's doing. What are eggs, like $9 or something crazy like that? And Jesus Christ, you have an overbloated military. It's like, what are you? That's why I keep saying in chat, this Red Blue game is not meant for us to play.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because it's not. It's really just the capitalist class waving their middle finger in your face, and then the petty bourgeoisie just comes and just, oh, black people, just shut up, just stop asking for stuff, just shut up. Like Jim Clyburn flat out told people, hell no, we ain't getting reparations, basically. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, call him what he is. He's a member of the rainbow petty bourgeoisie. That's what he is.
Yeah.
That's what some of these neoliberal cooning ass house niggas are.
Yeah.
Like,
and
once you recognize them, build past them. Like, yeah. And a lot of younger people, a lot of younger black folks are starting to recognize that a lot more. But some of the elders still aren't.
Yeah.
Like, damn, bro. Like, what?
And I mean, at this point, like, this is another topic. I mean, we could say it for another day, but at first, now that I'm thinking of it, for folks like that, for you know, the people who share the same skin color but they ain't kinfolk, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm gonna disavow them. They're not black no more. I ain't afraid. Hey, you say what? You against? Okay, you ain't black no more. Like Candace
Black
Owens,
card liberals.
she ain't black no more. I'm actually going to stop calling her black. I don't know what I'm gonna call her, but she ain't black no more. If
You know
she's
what you can say?
denying history, like, no, you're not gonna be part of this. And with this movement, with this entity that we're referring to, like, it's going to be obviously more than just for black folks, because, you know, once again, you know, black folks have a history of loving others even though people don't love us. So I think it's just built into our DNA that, like, hey, we can't be like that. Even though we're as angry as we are, you know what I'm saying? Like, we still find a way to love everybody. You know what I'm saying? But for folks like Candace Owens or anybody else who's like, oh, you know, just saying some ridiculous stuff, hey, guess what? This ain't gonna be for you.
No,
This ain't gonna work for you.
Instead of saying she's black, let's just say she has revitiligo.
Yeah,
Like the Boondocks. The opposite of what Michael Jackson.
I'm gonna practice saying that word because I can't. I embarrass myself trying to say that word right now. But yeah, she's that. You know what I'm saying? She got a horrible suntan. But I'm really one thing you're gonna learn about me, okay, is I just do things. I want to, if I see something that I want to accomplish, I'm gonna get it done, or at least attempt to. You know what I'm saying? I've been married 14 years, and I met my wife on not Facebook, what is it? MySpace, right? I got her number. That same night, I said, hey, we should just get married. Now, she was crazy enough to agree. I know you looking at me, y'all judging me right now. But listen. A month later, we got married. And like I said, that was 14 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So like when I want to do something, I'm gonna make it happen. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. You know what I'm saying? So we're like, especially in the Discord, it is really important that we communicate and we take each other seriously.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because how many times throughout history, amazing things like the Black Panther Party of Self-Defense comes out of regular people. These are not geniuses. These are not, well-scholared people who have some crazy degree I can't pronounce. Huey P. Newton couldn't even really read well. He was at least he said he was a horrible public speaker. But look what he was able to accomplish. You know what I'm saying? So W.E.B. Du Bois, you know what I'm saying? Like it's
you know his whole name, right?
Huh?
You know his whole name, right?
I don't. What is his name?
William Eugene Beauregard Du Bois. Okay,
there you go. See, once again, like I'm gonna stick to W.E.B. because it sounds so much clean, so much slicker. You know what I'm saying? But like I'm for real. Like y'all think I'm playing. Like I didn't create this YouTube channel just to be pretty on screen. You know what I'm saying? Like I created this channel to make things happen. And I would rather have 4 quarters than 100 pennies. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather have four really like-minded people than 100 people. You know what I'm saying? Like in the Discord today, hey, if you're not in this conversation, if you're not trying to be productive, I'm going to kick you out the group. Like, I'm not just trying to have pretty numbers and say I have 1 million people in my Discord. No, it don't work like that. I just want solid people in the group. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, we gonna make something happen at the end of the day. And like I say, if it just has to be me giving $1 to some entity, then hey, you know what I'm saying? It's just gonna have to go down like that. But like I said, I'm pretty sure it's more than just me out there. You know, so anyone want to add to that? What you guys got?
It just Zed, like what I've said to people is that it just goes back to building real ecosystems. That's ultimately my point with reparations. It's really about building those ecosystems again.
Yeah.
It's really about rebuilding that connectivity. That's why I said like the cash payments are secondary. It's because it's like, okay, well, we need to rebuild the social bonds and the connectivity and all these other things, but this capitalist system is in opposition with its white superstructure apparatus, is in opposition to what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to get more black folks to understand this is our problem. You don't think Dr. King understood this late? He understood this later in his life, that this was the problem. That's why you heard him talk about economics, because he knew this was class war. So like at some point, more black people have to realize capitalism is our obstacle. Its superstructure, its functionality is our opposition. It's endless commodification, even to the point of even affecting the planet itself with these ecological crises. I know I sent that video with Howie about ecosystems versus capitalist. Yeah, that even from the environmental standpoint, because eventually black neighborhoods get affected the most anyway.
That's true.
Disproportionately because of our class society, because of how our class society, our class realities are. And like I said, I get that Phil's audience and him are they wanting the best, but if you're not understanding what your real obstacle is, then bro, I gotta look at you like, okay, bro, what's the point?
Yeah.
Like you're showing me that you don't understand what the real issue is, and that you're not understanding you gotta confront this. So, like I said, I wouldn't even say that overthrow capitalism is impossible. I just say
it's gonna take
it's at this point it's damn sure gonna happen.
Yeah.
Because it's like these newer generations are growing up more integrated. They're growing up seeing seeing like, why is that this way? Why are my parents going through this? Why is it when I have folks doing the right thing according to how they said, do the right thing, work hard, pick yourself up by, the whole Republican bullshit, pick yourself up by the bootstraps, all of that. My folks are doing this, and they're still, and forgive my French, but they're still getting fucked. Yeah. So at some point, you can't keep saying the same things to more generations that come along. They look at this and go, yeah, no, this has to go. Yeah. So it's really, to me, it's a matter of time before this system is over with. It's just maybe not now, but as more generations come along and see this, who knows? But yeah, it's really ultimately my point with it was reconnect us back to black radicalism, rebuild those social structures, then we talk about cash. Because if you just give people cash payments with everybody atomized, what the hell does that really do?
Yeah, that's just
because no one's thinking about it like that. Like, what does that really do? What, the capitalist class is gonna give you a check? You'd be like, see, we gave those black people a check. They need to shut the fuck up and not ask us shit anymore. Yeah. And the next thing you know, you'd be like, well, it wasn't enough. Then everybody else against you, like, motherfuckers, that's bullshit. We watch them give you money. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And you don't want that to happen.
And like I said, it's gonna take more than money to kind of restructure and to rebuild what was stolen from us, what was taken from us, what was held back from us for slavery, Jim Crow, all that. You know what I'm saying?
And I just want to make it clear that yes, property is part of that. I didn't mean to like leave that out as I would think that's understood, but just in case someone like, well, you didn't say anything about property. Well, here it is. So I said what I need to say about property. Ultimately, it's land, building those social bonds, reconnecting us back to radicalism, And when I say comments like this on black channels, I get, "We don't want that commie crap here." All that. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, y'all, what? Are you serious?
Well, you're
Like,
definitely at the right channel. Trust me. It's
yeah, and I'm just like, dude, like, I'm like, bro, I was tempted to type again. Like, I guess I can say my approach is mixed. I'll take from both Marx and Bakunin real quick. Like, I really, like, I don't know if you did any research on Bakunin or Kropotkin or Proudhon or.
No, I got to
I know you got to Marx and Engels and Lenin and Stalin.
what's his name?
Trotsky?
Soraka, or I'm bad with names. The guy in Africa.
Sankara?
Sankara, or yeah, that's his name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to Sankara, and like you say, eventually this capital system is going to fail, and we just need to make sure we're in the right position to.
So basically, building a
survival.
Yeah, so building a survival economy to make sure when this thing goes down, you're kind of stabilized, kind of.
Yeah.
So that we, yeah, as a transition stage, because we don't go straight to systems like that. People think we do. I'm like, well, you have people that are like, well, if we don't have a straight path from another system, I'll stick with capitalism. That doesn't work historically. You didn't have a straight path from slavery to feudalism. That wasn't a straight path.
Yeah.
Feudalism to capitalism was a straight path. Like, what?
So Mr. Ty. But before we wrap this up, what is your thoughts on and you brought up this idea. Now you got me really thinking about this. So you done started something. You know what I'm saying? So I hope you're happy.
I had to, just like the doctor said, might get taken out. I don't know.
Hey, if it's for a cause, man, you know, I'd rather die for a cause than just to die just for nothing at all. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, hey, put me down.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep talking. I'm gonna keep talking, but just like she said, this has been done before. As far as they're taking our people, our leaders out, but then like also we have that information as well, so we're able to prepare for. That's why I would like to. That's why I invited my friend, Officer Thompson. I've spoken to, my lawyer. He said he's down to come and speak with us. And these people, they always give me good advice, and they teach me certain things. Like with Officer Thompson, he taught me certain phrases and words that made me say, oh, you know, that's why this is happening. This is why they do this. So I'm saying it is we can learn certain code words and prepare for these types of negative words, situations. So yeah, I'm gonna keep inviting people. I also sent a message to one of my friends who has a financial firm, and he can educate us on some things. But like I said, this it's an idea right now, but this entity, I'm calling it right. I do have a name for it, but I'd rather say that privately. But we call it this entity right now. This entity is supposed to help us help secure us, create better healthy health situations. You know, everything that we should have. Basically, we take whatever procedures, information the Huey P. Newton did with the Black Panthers when they created they created something for the mothers, with WIC, I believe.
Oh,
and
yeah. Oh,
it's basically like that, and with Black Lives Matter, what they did, but something different where we could watch what is being done with the money. You know what I'm saying? we take what someone else did, and we see what they did wrong, and improve it,
Oh
and also prepare
yeah.
for the for the people ahead of us.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that's an essential part. And me and my wife was talking about this earlier. Like, um, some things we don't have to go through if we just pay attention to history. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we pay attention to some of the uh, uh, tactics that the government used against the Black Panther Party, with taking their guns and just letting that just go down like the way it did. The way that they tried to publicly shame Huey P. Newton, how they, just tactics on how they turned, infiltrated and turned Malcolm X and his own people against them. You know what I'm saying? The BLM movement, they were, horribly non-transparent in their managing with the funds, or at least that's how the news put it. But I
The
mean, so
national
many,
chapter.
huh?
The national chapter was with the clown shit, but the locals did real good work.
Yeah, and just learning from that. You know what I'm saying? I think something positive can come out of this. Dr. Jackson, are you still with us?
Yeah.
Boom, perfect. Before we close this out, what is some of your final thoughts when it comes to I guess this entity that is the conversation right now?
I guess I better save up my dollar.
Definitely. I mean, you're in the Discord, so you'll definitely be in the loop with everything. But just to let you guys know, because I don't want to take up more of you guys' precious time and everything. But once again we're gonna be talking in a Discord on a regular, so obviously with that. But I want to have these kind of conversations at least once a week on Tuesday. And if a better day works than others, then definitely communicate that with us. And I'm pretty sure a lot of us is flexible when it comes to our time. So
And one more thing
yeah,
before you
go
hang
for
up.
it.
I guess it's an idea right now, but we have to find a way to put it on paper and send it out there for send it to Dr. Rashad and Roland Martin. You know how to prepare Roland Martin,
Oh yeah, yo, you got to come correct.
but send it with some a bigger following than, but putting it on paper and reading it out on old rough drafts and improving it would make it better.
Oh yeah, definitely. And like I said, like we're gonna do everything we need to solidify this. We're gonna make sure we cross our T's and dot our I's. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I was always look at it this way: if someone was asking me for my dollar, what would I be looking for? You know what I'm saying? I need to make sure they got a plan. I need to make sure I can see where the funds is going, if this is supposed to help, everybody for the greater good. I want to see this. You know what I'm saying? So, it's definitely not going to be something built tomorrow. Great things don't, come in a microwave. You know what I'm saying?
Rome
So,
was built in a day.
huh?
Rome wasn't built in a day.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So we could take our time, do this right, because we may only have one shot at this. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just kind of how our society works, like that. But I mean, once again, I appreciate you guys actually coming through. You know what I'm saying? I was a little skeptical at first. I was like, no one's gonna show up. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have to do this solo. But I definitely appreciate you guys, your time, your minds, your energy. You know what I'm saying? Your intellect, and this is exactly what I wanted for this channel, is to actually find like-minded people and try to make something happen. You know what I'm saying? So once again, I appreciate you guys.